starting to move a little bit quicker in Jefferson Parish. We talked with Dr. Walter Maestri a little while ago, and he said they do have power from Entergy up and running at hospitals, and they're working on it for their emergency operations center in Jefferson. So that's at least a glimmer of hope for some folks. People in Jefferson, at least the plan is now, it's not written in stone, but the plan is now to let those folks go back on Monday for a little while, pick up some of their belongings in their homes if they're able to get to them, and then get out for maybe another month. And then you think about the point after that. Let's say you can come back after a month. Well, then starts the job of cleanup. So you really still can't live in a house that's been flooded out or has some real structural damage.
Many people have moved temporarily to Texas, and we want to check in on what's happening with the evacuees there. We have this report from Trish Regan.
They traveled 350 miles to trade one shelter for another. Here they were given medical attention, showers, clean clothes, and food to eat. Basics that now seem like luxuries to Jermaine and Rajas Bean.
You know, we've been treated so good, so good. I mean, it's
a breath of fresh air.
You know,
I mean, it feels like something is lifted.
But not everyone here feels relief. Many are still searching for loved ones.
Please call us, please.
Love you, Grandpa. Love you, Grandpa.
Some, like Tad and Helene Bro, have been lucky.
We're just so happy you are.
Helene gave birth days before Katrina hit, but the child was premature and needed a special baby monitor, which meant they had to leave him in the hospital. The hospital was evacuated, and Tad and Helene had no idea where their 9-day-old child was until now.
Somebody finally called us to say he might be at this hospital, and we called in, and he's there.
He's there?
Yep, he's there.
By nightfall, the dome was full. Cots were taken, and people were growing impatient.
So you arrived here today?
Yes, ma'am.
And you haven't been able to
Get
lie
a car?
down?
No, not at all.
By the time we got here, it was already filled up. So now we've got to find a place to go.
And the Red Cross says as of August 31st, more than 54,000 people were in 317 shelters. There are major advances being made in reaching those who are medically needy. 51 teams from the National Disaster Medical Systems have been deployed, including 5 disaster medical assistance teams that are supporting the New Orleans medical facilities and hospitals not fully operational. So many hospitals do not have power and had to close down, are on generator power, and that will last only as long as they have fuel available. We did get some good news from Dr. Maestri that the hospitals in Jefferson Parish are operational. They have been relinked to Entergy power.
A lot of tourists who came here were trapped here. Dozens of them came from places like Tennessee, Arkansas, and Canada. We're told that they've banded together to try and stay alive. Their hotel tried to get them out yesterday, hiring 10 buses for them, but federal authorities commandeered those buses. They were told to go to the convention center, where they found no food, no water, only angry people. The tourists instead tried to cross the huge bridge blocks away, dragging their luggage with them through broken glass, smashed bricks, and trash. They were turned away there by the police, who fired a warning shot in case they didn't get the message. They spent the night within the sight of a group of police who brought food and water and promised to get them out. But they still remain trapped this morning. This is as of Friday morning. One man from Canada says, quote, "I'm not sure I'm going to get out of here alive." He says he grew up in an upper middle class family, and in his words, street life is foreign to me.
And street life is foreign to a whole lot of people. And a lot of people for the first time, and this is Air Force One landing. Where is this plane landing? Okay.
We're assuming either Belle Chase Naval Air Station or it doesn't look like it's out in Kenner, so I would assume it's Belle Chase Naval Air Station. That's generally where the president's plane lands when Air Force One does come here.
Well, the president has arrived and is going to be meeting with people and also surveying the damage along the Gulf Coast and in this region.
There's the president's helicopter.
Earlier this morning, he said that the efforts so far have been unacceptable. So the president acknowledging that all has not been done the way it should be done in order to meet this terrible crisis.
And this will be a very sobering trip for Mr. Bush and Secretary Chertoff, the Homeland Security Secretary, as they tour some of the devastated areas all over the New Orleans metro area and into Mississippi, which was heavily affected by this horrible hurricane. The president also indicated in his press conference, his brief remarks before he left the White House, that he will be talking with some of the victims here. I assume he'll be talking with some of the authorities here as well. Now, as we've all heard, Mayor Ray Nagin was very harsh, very critical of the federal government and even state government in the way this whole thing is handled. In Mr. Bush's remarks before he left the White House this morning, as he was leaving the White House rather, he did say that what has gone on so far, while it's a valiant effort, has been unacceptable.
And the president will be getting off the plane momentarily and boarding the helicopter that you see in the foreground to take that aerial surveillance. He had flown over the area in Air Force One at a lower than usual altitude, but really couldn't grasp everything that was going on. He'll be able to get a much closer view in this helicopter.
And you know, this president has had to deal with a lot of tragedy in his first and second administration. You think about just a few months into his first administration, and 9/11 hits. Then the aftermath of that, the tsunami disaster. Of course, the war in Iraq has weighed heavily on Mr. Bush and his administration. It's weighed heavily on a lot of people, actually. And then you have this natural disaster, along with many other disasters that have happened over the past several years. But this is the press corps getting off the plane now, the press corps that rides on Air Force One with the president. And then the president will be getting off in a few minutes. Now, there'll be... Okay, now we're being told this may be in Mobile. We don't know where this is exactly. This is coming from CBS, apparently.
So we have this live footage, and after the reporters and photographers get set, then the president will get off the plane and get in the helicopter, and I'm sure this will be a very difficult day for him as he witnesses firsthand the devastation of Hurricane Katrina.
And you know, we've been concentrating a lot on the New Orleans area and of course the Mississippi Gulf Coast, but Alabama also got hit by this. So the president has to view areas in 3 states. And this will be the greatest natural disaster that has ever hit this country. Cost-wise, we're not sure of human death toll yet. There have been other disasters that have taken a lot of lives.
Yes.
But this one certainly is not over yet, and we don't know what the final death toll will be.
And you have to wonder if President Bush has heard what Mayor Ray Nagin said. I assume he has heard, as Mayor Ray Nagin was on a local radio station, WWL.
But then once the AP gets a hold of it,
yes,
CNN
it's all
gets a hold
over.
of it, it's all over.
And he said, Mayor Nagin said that, quote, about the president and his administration, they don't have a clue what's going on down here. Nagin said he told President Bush in a recent conversation that we, quote, had an incredible crisis here, and that his flying over in Air Force One does not do it justice. I have been all around this city, and that I am very frustrated because we are not able to marshal resources, and we are outmanned in just about every respect. He said he had that conversation with President Bush. And now the president is coming to take a closer look at the damage and to meet with the victims, some of the victims of this tragedy.
And the head of FEMA didn't make things any better when Mayor Nagin said that the federal government doesn't have a clue. When he was questioned about people going over to the convention center, he said he did not know that they were there. And you know, I'm thinking about those tourists who came here to New Orleans. Whoops, I kind of stepped on one right there. who came here to New Orleans expecting a wonderful vacation of a lifetime, and all of a sudden this hurricane hits. And I would assume, as a vacationer, you think, well, you know, somebody's going to take care of me somewhere.
And that's what you would think.
Then all of a sudden they wind up roaming the streets, being shuffled from one place to another. The bus they're supposed to go on, commandeered by the federal authorities. They try to go to the convention center. That's not good. No food, no water. They try to go somewhere else. The police fire shots over their heads. Finally, at least some cops were able to help them out and give them some relief. And there we see Mr. Bush on the ground.
Meeting with people. And we talk about that the tourists expected that they would be taking care of. The residents also expected that they would be taken care of better, much better than they have been by their government. And perhaps this is the beginning of that change that will allow these people to get the help they need as the president boards the helicopter.
I am incredibly proud of our Coast Guard. We have got courageous people risking their lives to save life. And I want to thank the commanders, and I want to thank the troops over there for representing the best of America.
Obviously, New Orleans is the hub of the economy in South Louisiana, and especially the metro area. Everything rotates around New Orleans. So even if Metairie can get up back and running, or Jefferson can get up back and running, it's still going to be hard for a lot of folks there, because their economy, their jobs, their livelihood all depends on what happens in New Orleans.
New Orleans is an engine that
truly have a life
runs
safety issue.
this area.
We're looking at plans to
and
get those people evacuated.
we're looking now at the flooding that exists, and unfortunately draining New Orleans is not like unstopping a bathtub.
And they keep showing the shots of Jesuit High School and all the other places that have flooded.
And all the students who are at these various schools, the public and parochial school students, all the students who are out of school right now, parents having to make a decision about what they're going to do, homeschool or enroll them in schools elsewhere, because they want to continue the education process. And of course they want to try to get the kids back to some kind of normal schedule, some kind of normal routine for their emotional well-being.
And all this going on for days.
There are many other refugees, many other children who are in this very same situation, and that will provide some comfort.
And this is just one scene on the Broad Street overpass. You look at some of the overpasses, the Claiborne on Claiborne, or on the raised elevated section over Claiborne Avenue. And you see all these people, I mean hundreds and hundreds of people who are stuck on these overpasses with nowhere to go, nowhere to turn, and hoping that somebody will bring them some food and some water, or get them out of town as soon as possible. And that's one of the things, again, that drove Mayor Ray Nagin to the boiling point yesterday, to where he finally said enough is enough. And he made it clear in no uncertain terms that things had to be changed. The federal government had to get in here, and not tomorrow, not the next day, but right now. Maybe you can expect, maybe after 24 hours or 48 hours, but here we are on Friday, and you still don't see those massive relief efforts coming into town. And I think that's what has people, including the mayor, so frustrated.
We're looking at the skyline of New Orleans right now, and when was this video taken? Do we know? You see some smoke on the horizon. This is live. This is live video of downtown New Orleans. How often have we started our morning show, Eric, with a shot of the New Orleans in the distance and commented on how beautiful our city is? Now much of our city is in crisis.
This is part of that fire downtown we were talking about, the one that is close to the Windsor Court Hotel. And you can see the flames going right there. This is one of 3 fires going on in the metro area at this time. So, and the ironic part, you've got the water on one hand and the fire on the other, and the
authorities who have their hands full and can't get to that.
And you know, when I was flying over parts of the city yesterday, there were parts that were flying over in the 9th Ward, actually 2 days ago, and you'd see a gas line that had ruptured, and it was flaming. and all of a sudden you see the water boiling around it. And
the water boiling.
Well, because the heat was so intense, but the pipe was just exposed enough to where it could keep on flaming up. And it was like an eternal flame in the middle of all that murky, ugly flood water.
And normally, if there were a fire of this magnitude, this would be a big news story. Oh, there is some people are fighting the fire. Firefighters are out there fighting this fire.
Boy, and you wonder.
You have to give it to these firefighters, the police officers, the troops that are taking part in work that, and then at the same time, their homes. Many of them have homes that are gone or badly damaged.
And these guys have probably been working round the clock. They've got to be near exhaustion. I know we're tired just from talking for a long time. And these guys have to be.
Oh, can you imagine the exhaustion and the heat? And normally it's difficult to be a firefighter, but under these circumstances.
And you know, I don't think I've ever seen a firefighter out in shorts before.
Well, this is an unusual day.
And as we said, one of 3 fires burning. They have one reported, according to the AP, on the West Bank. This fire downtown. And the fire, an explosion that happened this morning on the riverfront in the 3500 block of Charters at that old warehouse. And as we watch the building go down, it's just it's one disaster after another.
The violence, the lawlessness has been such a serious concern because you know, it makes this situation so much worse for people who are stuck there. And they can't they can't get the relief efforts in. I mean, they can't bring in the food and water. We've heard stories about hijackings, that food and water is being hijacked. We heard that there's a hospital on the West Bank, Meadowcrest Hospital, that had food and water coming in. It was hijacked on the way there.
And I think it also impacts the perception that people have of what's going on in the city of New Orleans. And I think we need to be reminded that there are still so many people, so many innocent civilians, and that's one of the reasons why police don't want to fire back at looters or gangs who have fired at them, because they don't want to end up hitting innocent civilians. But that there are so many innocent, we saw pictures of children outside the convention center, and so many other innocent civilians trapped in this city with no place to go. And so it's important to be reminded of that, because the looting and all that violence is a big part of the story, but it's only one part of what's going on in the city of New Orleans.
Governor Kathleen Blanco last night was very concerned about the lawlessness, and I mean, she seems almost desperate in her comments, issuing a warning to lawbreakers. Hundreds of National Guardsmen, she said, hardened on the battlefield in Iraq, have landed in New Orleans. They have M16s. This is her quote. They have M16s and they're locked and loaded. She said, these troops know how to shoot and kill, and they are more than willing to do so, and I expect they will. It's just a desperate situation. Police Chief Eddie Compass said there was such a crush around a squad of 88 officers that they retreated when they went in to check out reports of assaults. This was at the New Orleans Convention Center, where things are becoming, were becoming hostile last night. We have individuals, Chief Compass said, who are getting raped. We have individuals who are getting beaten. Tourists are walking in that direction, and they're getting preyed upon.
So a desperate situation there. And I heard, in fact, Mayor Nagin, some of his comments were sort of centered around that yes, the city needs food, the city needs water, but the city also needs to get federal help to get a handle on the situation, because they are just taxed they just have no more resources to be able to stop these people and get all the chaos under control.
Today, as the president comes to Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, for a ceremonial trip to look at the victims of the devastation, you do well to have a plan more significant than a ceremonial tour, giving President Bush Sr. and President Bush yet another assignment to look after it in the aftermath. That is most inadequate.
How many people do we have left to get out? A big charity. That's part of my frustration. It sounded like we were about halfway evacuated of our patients. We still have staff and family members of staff and refugees to evacuate.
Bad news on the evacuation of Charity Hospital, which has had to be completed, had to be halted twice because of what Don Smithberg calls security concerns. And he said he's not even sure what those security concerns are. He said to the best of his understanding it had to do with civil disobedience. He thinks people just maybe trying to rush the evacuation effort, getting more and more desperate, and what kind of violence might be associated with that, we're not sure. But we see a situation in Charity Hospital that is dire, he said, with perhaps 100 patients and 900 staffers who are having to give each other intravenous nutrients just to keep themselves functioning. And when somebody asked him how difficult that decision must be to be able to sustain themselves when so many around them are literally dying in the hospital, he said it's one of the most perverse decisions they have to make.
Definitely very difficult news.
Yeah, very sobering and shocking news, but I guess expected in some ways, too.
In some ways, the evacuation of Charity Hospital is really alarming. I mean, that is almost the most disturbing piece of news that we got there.
It's hard to describe the devastation that we have just walked through. I just talked to a fella was raised in the house that used to be. And he's got rubble surrounding him. And I said, "You doing all right?" And he said, "I'm doing fine. I'm alive, and my mother's alive." I talked to a fellow who runs a wrecking service. I think it's a wrecking service. He said, "I witnessed Camille. We went through Camille, and we'll go through this storm Katrina." You know, there's a lot of sadness, of course. But there's also a spirit here in Mississippi that is uplifting.
And you were listening to comments from President Bush just a short time ago, made in Biloxi, Mississippi, as he traveled that area of the Gulf Coast and viewed the devastation there, but talked a lot about New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. He said in Mississippi, though, he said there's a lot of sadness, but the spirit here in Mississippi is uplifting. I think he wanted to put the focus more on Mississippi at first. But he did talk about New Orleans, and he said that the results are not acceptable. There's not enough security in New Orleans. And he said when you're in a position of his authority, the thing is not to be satisfied with things until they're done as well as possible. He said he's not criticizing the way anything is being done, but he just wants things to be done as well as possible.
And we were showing you some video a short time ago of a building in New Orleans downtown in the Central Business District. There is the video of that fire. The structure is not far, we're told, from the Harrah's Casino and the city's convention center, where a number of evacuees have holed up. But it had minimal damage in the storm, but now has burned to rubble.
Let's take a look at First Lady Laura Bush as she visits with the people in the Relief Center in Lafayette.
And over and over, because of course it's going to be a while. So can't come this week. We hope they can come the next or the next or the next.
If not, we'll be here until they come.
Yeah. Are you all local?
Yes, I am.
I am local. Local, California. Thank you.
Bless your heart for coming.
In from California.
They got from all over the country.
Yeah, I saw in Florida last year. I saw some of the volunteers who came.
It has to be gratifying for the people in that relief center, the people who left this, who evacuated from the hurricane zone, to have the First Lady come and visit them.
And you saw the camera pan a little over to television behind the First Lady that showed images of what appeared to be the situation at the Superdome, with armed guards there and people sort of packed in, it appeared, I would assume, as they wait for buses to take them out of the city. And we should remind you that the First Lady is in Lafayette. She talked about how the situation there is adequate and everything is under control there. But again, there was no real news coming out of Lafayette of any problems.
No, we haven't heard of any problems at all. And in fact, we have not seen a lot of video from inside the relief centers where people from the New Orleans area are going. So this is our first chance really to see that. And we would expect that it would be in much better condition than some of the relief centers here, which is why they wanted to get out. Now we have a report right now from David Watchus from one of our sister stations talking about the situation in Biloxi. Let's take a look at that.
I understand that you folks not only sustained damage, got the brunt of the storm, but you were out trying to save people.
Yeah.
What happened?
This two-story apartment house collapsed, and there were 8 people. 6 of them, well, they climbed out on the stairwell, which they thought was the strongest part. getting caved in. They bobbed in the water and the debris. Lisa saw one of the gentlemen caught his head going up and down. And then when we couldn't get him to come to us because we realized he was looking back for others, we just went in, walked over this debris and pulled him in.
They formed Gary and Butch Henley and Jimmy Ryder, and he's a new neighbor, Steve, I don't know his last name yet, formed an assembly line, and one would pull out, and then they would take them over. They were positioned over the debris and would bring them to the house where we would nurture. So some of them I think were in shock.
Now, we were talking earlier about Charity Hospital and the difficult situation they have with the evacuation suspended. And Meg Ferris is joining us now to talk to us a little bit more about that.
Dennis, we've been hearing all these reports that we couldn't confirm yet from Charity about shots being fired, so they couldn't evacuate all the patients. We finally have been able to get someone on the phone. I believe we have Bibi Fitzmaurice on the phone with us. Bibi, can you hear me?
Yes.
First of all, tell me, what are the conditions like there?
Actually, they're not bad. You know, we don't have water, we don't have electricity, but we've been cleaning up after everybody, and it's not too bad. Food is very scarce. We're rationing water. You know, we've had to come up with makeshift toileting, but all in all, conditions are pretty good.
How many patients would you say are in the entire hospital? We're hearing about 900. Is that accurate?
Not anymore, it's not.
Well, what we heard was 900 staff, and 900 staff, about 350 family members, and 100 or more patients. Do you still have about 100 patients there?
I doubt it. I doubt it. The evacuation has been going full swing all day today.
Well, that's great news.
We are doing quite well with it. I just got back from the emergency room after putting out 2 of our criticals, and which were the last of our criticals. We started with 18. We're down to 4.
Okay, so the good news here is that the evacuation is underway again, because about half an hour ago we heard that the operation was suspended because of civil unrest. Civil disobedience. We've also been hearing from the Wildlife and Fisheries today, and security concerns are so great, they were saying at this news conference this morning that they can't, for a while they were asking for volunteers to come in with boats, and they would send them out to help rescue people on rooftops and in attics and that sort of thing. And now they're not doing that because of security concerns. And so they're pulling those their agents out when they hear gunfire. I mean, there's nothing they can do about it when they have gunfire. So they're pulling their agents out, and they're not asking volunteers to go in and use their boats because of the safety concerns.
We are live on top of the Causeway Bridge over Interstate 10, where the scene behind me here is just unbelievable. It is a massive refugee camp filled with thousands and thousands of people who have come out here because they have been rescued from New Orleans because of Hurricane Katrina. Many of them plucked off their roofs, brought in here by helicopter and by trucks, where they have sat here, many of them for 2 days, some as long as 4 days, underneath this interstate, waiting for a ride out of the city. Over here beside us here, if we can pan over, we can see people walking with the soldiers from the National Guard being taken to helicopters right now. Many of these people are very frail and very sick and very old, and some of them need desperate medical care. Fortunately, people are being taken out of this location, but right now it seems the only way to go is by air for the most part, and the military is only taking the most serious and most critical patients out first. Although maybe about an hour and a half ago, about half a dozen buses did pull up and begin taking some people out. But people here at the scene tell me that is the first time they have seen buses out here in 12 hours. State police say this is a scene that has gone from bad to worse. They are getting concerned about the security here and trying to keep people in control, because a lot of them, as you can imagine, are very angry, very hungry, and very upset about this. Now, they do have water and food they are passing out, but what they want more than anything is just a ride out of the city and a little piece of shade. The shade here is so precious here. Many of them are having to stand outside in the sun. All the trees in the median here are filled with people, and underneath the causeway, underneath where we're standing right now, there are probably thousands more crammed in there. That is also where they've set up a little triage center to try to just help some of these people who have come in wheelchairs and come in with serious medical problems. And so right now, police are hoping that more buses will come and that will get here shortly. A lot of people here say they've waited too long and are hoping for some urgent medical care. Back to you guys.
These people have been there for hours, days?
Yeah, some of these people have been out here for 2 days. A lot of them have actually been here since last night. Many others have been here since the storm hit on Monday. And as they're bringing in these people, or as these people sit here and wait, more people are being brought in by helicopter. What they're doing is that this is kind of a staging area where they are basically shuffling people around the city. They get people into boats off the tops of their homes. They drop them off at a location that's usually on an elevated expressway where they sit and wait. And then those people are usually brought to this location where, again, they sit and wait. And here, many of them have sat and wait for 2 days for a ride out of the city. And by the way, the longer they wait, the authorities here worry that more people will die. Just yesterday, state police tell us 5 people died at this one camp alone here. But help is getting here slowly but surely. As you can see, these massive helicopters that have been flying in every day, or every few minutes actually, since we've been here today, dropping off people and then picking more people up. But the authorities say here what they need more than anything is buses to get large numbers of people out.
Jonathan, I'm wondering, what do people do when they have to go to the bathroom? And do they have a procedure for people lining up? How do they know who to take, who's been there the longest, and that kind of thing?
Dennis, the filth here is unbelievable. There are about 10 porta potties here that have just overwhelmed with human waste. Most people are trying to find a place on the ground to use the bathroom. You can probably see all the garbage. These people are literally sitting and standing on top of garbage. Just in some places it's a couple of inches thick. It's garbage and human waste. Authorities tell us there are so many people out here. There's a good chance that there's the possibility that there might be dead bodies in the crowd, and they just don't know of it yet. Many people here are just desperate to get out of here.
And Jonathan, how many, you may have mentioned this already, but how many people would you estimate are out there right now at I-10 and Causeway?
No one here has any kind of numbers, Jen, on how many are out here. I keep on asking all sorts of authorities here. They just answer thousands and thousands of people.
And those big choppers, they can put a number of people in there. Any idea how many people they can get in the chopper?
Yeah, I've been counting the number of people that they've been putting on there. It's about 12 people, about 12 to 16 people that can get on one of these helicopters. But the only people they're really taking out are the most serious patients, those who are extremely sick or elderly people who have medical conditions. There are amputees out here. There are people who need serious medical treatment. We talked to a woman earlier today who said she ran out of medicine. She brought it with her. She had enough, she thought, to get her to a safe place, but she just had no idea she was going to sit here for so long, and she ran out of medicine. So they're taking those kind of people out first, trying to get them to a safe place.
And Jonathan, we know that some of these people were rescued from rooftops and stuff, according to reports we had yesterday at least, and the day before. But others are coming from other places, I imagine. Where are they coming from?
Yes, people are walking in here, but very, very small numbers are coming in. For the most part, it is people who have been choppered in because they've been saved from another location out in St. Bernard Parish, New Orleans East, the Lower Ninth Ward, all those places that are still underwater and where rescue operations are still underway. Many of them have been choppered in here, and as they fly more people out from this location, they are bringing, in some cases, just as many in. So authorities worry that they're not really making a dent in the situation here because they can't seem to get enough people out fast enough.
And Jonathan, I noticed a state trooper there standing in front of the barricades, a number of people lined up at the barricades. Is there any sort of order to the process? I know you said they were taking the sick and the ill out, and the elderly, but in terms of restoring order and keeping it safe, I mean, is it relatively safe there?
It is relatively safe here. It's my impression I get here. People are very upset and angry, but I don't think that they will get violent at this point. they do have the guns here just in case. They want to make sure that things stay in control. The order here is not so clear-cut. They are basically going through the crowd, seeing if anyone who looks bad needs help, and they're moving them to a triage area that is roped off, where there are some paramedics with very limited medical supplies helping these people and treating them, and it is from that triage area they are walking and carrying and pushing these people out on wheelchairs to get onto these helicopters. These helicopters come up and down. They create so much wind, it just blows the garbage and the filth all over these thousands of people standing here and waiting.
Wow. Joining us now is Archbishop Alfred Hughes, the Archbishop of the Archdiocese of New Orleans. Thank you for joining us. And you're here to talk to us about schools. And what...
Well, not just about schools,
okay, well,
because our decisions with regard to schools have not yet been made. You know, the first thing I would like to say is that despite all of the difficult news that's you're reporting and have to report, there's a lot of good news about the way in which people in this community of Baton Rouge
oh my gosh, yes.
are reaching out, welcoming, assisting, facilitating response. I have been overwhelmed by the way in which people have provided food and water and shelter, medical care, the partnership that has developed between Catholic Charities of New Orleans, Catholic Community Services of Baton Rouge, and the American Red Cross in providing relief. When you raise the question of the schools, we've tried to triage the decisions and issues that we need to address. And we've kind of formed an archdiocesan staff in exile here in Baton Rouge. Bishop Munch has kindly made office space available at the Catholic Life Center. Our first concern is for the people.
We have videotape now of President Bush is in town, as you know, touring the devastation, and we have video of him here with Mayor Ray Nagin. Mayor Nagin, of course, has been critical of the federal efforts to respond to this crisis, the worst natural disaster in the United States, according to officials.
And Mayor Nagin there talking with President Bush, and Nagin, of course, has been through so much this week, like all of us have. He has not left his city. He won't leave his city. And now walking here with the president, I believe that's at Armstrong International Airport.
Yes, we're told that's at Armstrong International,
where a meeting most likely is taking place to talk a little bit about federal efforts. And it'll be interesting to see exactly where they take the president. I know, obviously, for security issues, there may be some concern with taking him to the Dome or taking him to the convention center, but you can imagine he does, you would assume he wants to get a good perspective on exactly what's going on there.
Some reports about the National Guard troops. We've been telling you that they've been bringing in loads of food to the CBD area to some of the people who are staying at the Superdome and at the convention center. National Guard troops in trucks loaded down with water and food have gotten a mixed reaction from the starving masses outside the Superdome and the convention center. Some people threw up their hands in the air and screamed, "Thank you, Jesus," but others swore at the troops, unhappy that it took them days to get there. People have been, some of these people have not had much to eat. And these aerials now are taking us to the scene right outside the Superdome.
Oh my goodness, as people continue to wait in that heat and the sun. You were talking about the National Guardsmen providing food to those in New Orleans. A description of one woman who was guzzling water at the New Orleans Convention Center, and she called it like steak and potatoes, she said, of the cool water. She said she didn't think she was going to make it through that.
We have to go now. President Bush is speaking. We want to hear what he has to say right now.
This is a storm that's going to require immediate action now. I'm pleased to report, thanks to the good work of the Adjutant General from Louisiana and troops that have been called in, that the convention center is secure. One of the objectives that we had today was to move in and secure that convention center and make sure the good folks there got food and water. The caravans, the bus caravans, are continuing on, as is the airlift. The people of this part of the world have got to understand, and by the way, we just came from the 17th Street levee. A lot of folks are working hard to repair that levee. They've been working around the clock, 24 hours a day. People from the federal government, the state government, the local government are working to breach that, to fill that breach. The mayor has been telling me, not only by telephone but here in person, how important it is that we get that breach filled and get that pump station up and running.
We're going to get another report from St. Tammany Parish, Slidell right now. Let's go live there where we join Mike Ross. Mike?
Hey, Lee, as we've shown you before, this is the debris field along the canal along Highway 11 near the Eden Isles, Oak Harbor area. Again, the remnants of camps and homes along Highway 11 and the Lakeshore Drive here just smashed to bits. All during the day, we saw dozens and dozens of people making their way into the Eden Isles, Oak Harbor neighborhoods, going back to a heartbreaking situation. As we've been reporting, most of the homes in these lakefront communities still standing, but families are finding once they look inside that their belongings have been just jumbled around by 3 to 10 feet of floodwater. Doors blown out, boats inside of homes, pilings inside of homes. Just a heartbreaking scene. I mean, I guess if there's any good news out of that situation, their homes are still standing. The roofs, for the most part, are still on. The walls are still standing. But these people here south of the city of Slidell just facing months and months of repairs and just backbreaking work to try to get their lives back to normal.
We're still faced with some of the most incredible, stupid, ignorant regulations by FEMA. They have turned generators away from us. They've turned fuel away from us because they determined, or the driver determined, that it wasn't the correct spot to put it. The generators, the site hadn't been inspected yet. We've got to bring an inspector in to see where the thing is going. You know, bring me generators. We're in a catastrophic situation, and that is absolutely incredible. We have heard that FEMA or some federal agencies are going around seizing equipment from our contractors, etc. If they do that, they better bring weapons, because I'll be goddamn if I'm going to give anything up to a bunch of feds coming in and we're in a catastrophic situation and taking our stuff.
Again, getting back to the mayor's comments, very obvious. I mean, that he just pretty much exploded on camera this morning about some of the frustrations they faced in trying to get some outside help. But again, the good news is, slowly but surely, the situation is getting better. Some outside help is arriving. Fuel is a little easier to get a hold of than it was the last couple of days. The, I guess, overall sense of desperation, maybe, that the local officials had in getting help is beginning to ease. It seems it's kind of morphed from desperation to anger in what they say they've had to go through.
Our reporter Jonathan Betts has been out there much of the day, and he's joined now by Kenner Mayor Phil Capitano. Hey, Jonathan.
Well, good evening, Lee and Shauna. The operation here is still well underway. We're joined here live by the mayor of Kenner here outside of New Orleans, Phil Capitano. First of all, just tell us how did Kenner fare with this storm?
We were hit pretty hard by the storm. Probably about 90% of Kenner was underwater. A lot of wind damage, but we've been digging ourselves out.
Digging yourselves out? What do you mean? How are things looking right now?
Actually, we're getting pretty good. First 12 hours after the storm, we were in there cleaning up with crews, taking care of all of the debris, cleaning out our main thoroughfares. And we've been steadily at it ever since.
The water, how far did the water extend? Which kind of areas did it cover?
From Veterans all the way to the lake, we had water anywhere from a foot to 3 foot. If you look at from Airline Highway to the river, we had somewhere around 3 to 6 feet.
You've seen the images from this storm. Try to put in perspectives for us on how Katrina hit Kenner compared to the other areas along the Gulf Coast.
You know, I think they hit everybody really bad. What we were very blessed with was being able to have the water be removed very swiftly out of our area. Within about 3 days, all of the water was gone, so we could send those crews in to immediately start cleaning up.
And seeing that video of the recovery effort and crews cleaning up, my last question for you, do you encourage people to come back who might feel encouraged to get back because they want to see their homes, they want to try out, pull out what they can?
Well, we'd like to see the water turned on, and we'd like to see at least most of Kenner with power. Right now, down Williams Boulevard, we've got some power, but that's about it. So we'd like to see that, because right now the restaurants can't open, the grocery store can't open. There's no fuel. We're having to scrimp and scrape and beg and borrow to get fuel, even for our own vehicles. So when they get here, they wouldn't have anything that they'd be able to do. So it's better if they would wait just a little longer and let us get those infrastructure and those services available before they come back.
Mayor Phil Capitano of Kenner, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Good luck to you guys.
You know, we've covered so many parishes tonight and all the nights, and one we haven't talked about too much, because obviously it didn't receive as much from the hurricane as some of the eastern parishes, is St. Charles Parish, and that's where Bob Green spent much today.
Exactly, and we went down there where a lot of people are beginning to be able to return to their homes, but there are still a lot of concerns, even for people who have made it home, and there's some of the same concerns that people inside the city and some of the surrounding areas also have. As relief crews rush into New Orleans to help stranded people out, many St. Charles Parish residents are rushing to get back home. But problems persist even in towns outside New Orleans that seem to have fared well. Homes and businesses in St. Charles are still without power.
Maybe you could get some gas down here.
People are still waiting for gas trucks to arrive so they can make it the rest of the way home.
They told us that they had gas and it was coming, and now, you know, we sat out here and they said it's actually not going to come till tomorrow morning.
People were also waiting in long lines at stores like Winn-Dixie and Walmart to get some essentials for their families. For people who've already moved back, there are other problems. In the Willow Ridge subdivision, at least, there's not much visible damage. But it's not what you can see, but what you can smell that has people there complaining. Raw sewage.
As you can see, all the ditches on this side of the canal are full, and the water and the condition of the water looks pretty rough.
The reason? These pumps are quiet. They haven't had electricity in the area for days, and they'll need generator power to get all that sewage out.
Right now what we're doing is we're taking generators, going to lift stations, pumping them out to the sewer facility, treatment facility, but minimal use of the of your indoor facilities would be great to help out the situation.
Many other residents in the neighborhood are worried about looters making their way across the river from New Orleans. Signs like these are in yards all around the neighborhood.
Yeah, we've been having reports, and some of them are rumors, some of them are confirmed, of looters coming in and out of the houses. Majority of them coming from the West Bank and from the New Orleans area.
That's a 38. I have a 12 gauge, I have a 410, I have 22s. I don't believe anything is going to happen here, but just in case, you know, you always have a little bit protection on the side.
We do have a dusk at dawn curfew.
St. Charles Parish Councilman Brian Farb understands the reason for residents wanting to protect themselves, but he says they shouldn't take the law into their own hands.
We don't necessarily condone it, because the Sheriff's Department has everything under control.
For now, but it could be weeks before power and water are restored, not to mention peace of mind. Bob Green, Channel 4 Eyewitness News. And again, although we are weary of looters, folks in that area weary of looters, the officials say, please don't try to take the law into your own hands. The Sheriff's Department, they also have Army National Guard, as he said. They're on hand to try and make sure that that problem doesn't infiltrate the neighborhoods around there. Also, as far as the sewage issue is concerned, they say that they recommend that even though most of the homes are safe, they weren't underwater, they weren't affected by the water, they suggest that if you can stay away, if you're a St. Charles Parish resident and you can stay away for a little bit longer, please do so. They're working to get all these pumps working, but it's going to take the electricity being on for those pumps to begin working, since there's no gravity. It's Louisiana, everything's flat. So if you can stay away, please do so for a little bit longer. But other than that, you know, rest assured, if you're watching right now, you're a St. Charles Parish resident. Most of the homes are okay, some downed trees and power lines, but nothing too bad, nothing like we're seeing in some of the other spots around the area.
You're right about that. And the president came in this afternoon, flew in New Orleans this afternoon. And our photographer, Brian Lucas, who was covering the storm in town, made it back here a few nights ago, went down to New Orleans today as the president came in, and caught up with some people walking near the airport as the president's plane flew in. Let's take a look at what Brian saw this afternoon.
My baby can't stay in there, it's too high, mosquitoes bite, that's too much.
Can you tell me how you doing?
Not too good.
How's your baby?
Hey. Right, my face. You're not cool, babe. You straight, yeah, you straight.
If you heard the press conference or saw the press conference recently with the president and the governor, you heard the governor make mention that we have a project in motion, and we're going to call it Project Hope. What she's referring to is the project we've got ongoing to fix the breach at the 17th Street Canal. I've got really good results to report to you along that project. We've had a tremendous effort ongoing in the last 2 days. We have totally isolated the 17th Street Canal from the lake. So if water should rise in the lake, we're not going to see water going through that breach at 17th Street Canal. That's been done as of about 10 o'clock this morning, so it's good news. We are continuing to see water outflow from the flooded area into the London Avenue Canal. Now let me just say something just a bit more about the 17th Street Canal. As we completed driving our sheet pile to isolate the lake from the canal, we also have been working on trying to build a levee, rebuild the levee at the breach site. All day long yesterday and all day today, we've been dumping sand at that site. There's over 203,000-pound sacks of sand that have been dumped at the site. We've got helicopters working continuously in the last 12 hours dumping that sand. We've built a road on the east side of the levee, and now we have access with additional equipment to get directly over the breach and accelerate our dumping of material over that breach. So things are looking very positive as relates to the breach. As you're well aware, there is no additional water rise in the city itself. In fact, again, you see a slight reduction in water level. With this accomplishment of isolating the lake from the canal. We've again turned our full attention on filling and fixing the breach and assessing our pump situation. As soon as we completely fix the breach, which we anticipate will be, hopefully, our target is Sunday evening, Monday sometime, then we can turn the pumps on and start pumping out the city.
How long do you estimate till the city is dry? One of the Corps officials said earlier, 30 to 80 days until the dewatering is complete. Does that mean, or the unwatering, does that mean that it could be as long as 80 days before the whole city's dry?
I'm not sure in what context he answered your question. If you look at current pump capacity and what we have available to us, maximum capacity, without bringing in additional capacity and temporary pumps, it's conceivable that we won't be able to pump this out in 30 days. But I really don't know how he made the statement. All I can say is that we are, and the Corps is doing a very good job, an excellent job in coordinating with DOTD, and coordinating with the levee district, and coordinating with the National Guard. All of us together, there needs to be a coordinated effort relative to getting these pumps started. How long it'll take, we're still assessing that.
The Corps official here said that 3 of the pumps needed to be checked.
All of the pumps need to be checked, and all of the pumps are going through a checking process at this time.
Do you know if there's some are not functioning?
There's one pump that is, we feel won't start, but that's not, right now it's not critical to us because we have outflow in the London Canal, okay? And that pump is not a critical pump to us, although we got to get in there and get it fixed to accelerate production, our flow. This is good news.
Do you have any estimate of when you think that the pumps might be turned on?
Well, if we can complete the breach, fixing the breach by Sunday night on Monday, we're looking to start pumps on Monday. Some would say that's optimistic. Some would say that we need a little bit more time. But we're on we're working 24/7.
Evacuate.
And that is, of course, the latest news conference out there of the State Office of Emergency Preparedness. A lot of important information coming out of that news conference. But some good news, and we all
Finally,
need
some more good news.
good news after covering this, and that is that the 17th Street Canal totally isolated from the lake, and that is very, very good news. So if water rises in the lake, it's not going to flood the canal, and that's very, very important to the whole recovery effort. We understand that sandbags have they've been dropping sandbags all day. Helicopters have been flying continuously throughout the day, and actually we understand that water is not rising. In fact, it was reported that there's been a slight reduction in the water level, and that of course is really, really good news.